Okay, so I all in this video I'm going to explain how do we achieve inline table editing in Angular. Again, so this is not any particular topic from Angular or something. This is just a scenario which is mostly used when we work on a real-time projects or in any industrial project or any enterprise level application. So scenarios will be, let's say you want to do the bulk upload. You have very small form. You don't have very, let's say 4 to 5 fields are there. So instead of creating whole form in the table only, we will allow user to do the CRUD operation. And inline table editing is a very user friendly way to do the CRUD because you don't ask user to click multiple time, right? In the table only, he can do everything. Insert, update, delete, and everything he can do in the table itself, right? And if you create a reusable table also, and which you can easily convert into inline table also. So instead of writing that inline table editing logic again and again in every component, you can convert that into reusable table also, and you can pass the data and your table will behave the same. So your repetition will be also minimized, right? Now what we are going to discuss, so inline table editing, like how we can achieve. Now inline table editing we can achieve with template form also, means by using your ng model, or reactive form also we can use. In case of reactive form, we have to use the form array that I will cover in the next episode. But in this episode, I will be discussing how do we achieve it by using template form. Then validation. Obviously, we are going to do the CRUD operation, so we will have a form. So we need to validate it. So validation. And again that there is a what do we say? Either we can edit at a one row at a time or all rows to be editable. So that also configuration we can do. Fine. Now, so let's start. Again, if you are new, please do like and subscribe and help my channel to grow. And in the video description, you'll be finding a link of my WhatsApp group where you can join and you can directly connect with me also. Fine. Now, so this is the component I will be using. So first of all, API integration, we will do this API integration. Okay. Or instead of user now, we will try the smaller one. I think album or something will be there from this fake API. Yeah, album we will try. Album is also living. Yeah, post we will try. Fine. So post has user ID, title, and the body. So some limited information we have. Now this API called data we are going to integrate. So let's integrate now. This is the component which we are going to use. This is Angular 20 project. Again, inline editing has nothing to do with your Angular project version. Again, as I said, it's not a topic, right? So all the Angular version will follow the same, apart from like at the rate for, at the rate ng for, that will vary. Now I have to do the API call integration. So I will create the instance of my HTTP client. So if you are using the new one, you can use the HTTP also, means inject also to create the HTTP client object. But I'm going with this HTTP client. Then on the page load, we need to do the API call. So what I will do, implements on init, get what API we are going to integrate, post. So our function name should be like that, get all post. Now inside this, we are going to make the API call. So this dot HTTP dot get API call, simple get API call is there. And for get API, what we need, URL. So let's get the URL. So this is going to be my URL. This URL will go over here. Then obviously we need to subscribe. So dot subscribe, round bracket, result colon any. I'm going with any because that is not what we are going to discuss. So you can create class or interface also instead of any, you can use that. Now we need to store the data also into some variable. So let's say post list colon any of array of object we are going to get. So any of array. Now on the once we get the data, that data we need to store into this variable. So this dot post list is equal to res. Whatever the response we get it over here, that we are storing it over here. Now on the page load, we need to call it. So we implemented ng on it, right? So ng on init lifecycle we need to init. And on this, we will call this function. So on the page load, our function will be called. Now, so we have the data over here. Now this data we need to show into the table also. Let me just minimize this. Let's say row, column, let's say I'm going with call 5. And here I will use the table. Then T head we will have tr, th, how many data we are getting. Just user ID, 4 columns we have. So let's just add those 4 columns. So first will be, let's say serial number, doesn't matter. So ID, let me just copy paste now. So first we will just create our basic table, then we will convert it into inline editing one. Second will be user ID, then title and the body. Fine. So title and then body. So this is our header. After that, we need the T body. So T body. Now here we have to iterate the TR. Either you can use ng for, or if you are using the latest version, you can use at the rate control at the rate for loop also, whatever you are familiar. So I'm using at the rate for loop. Now on post list, we need to integrate. Again, we have to use the TR, that much TD. So we have 4 TS, so 4 TD we need. Now here we need to interpolate the data. So item dot. Now check the response. What property you have? First is ID. So let's copy ID, paste it over here. Now interpolation we need. So I'm just going to copy paste. Then we have user ID. So let's copy paste. Whenever you are binding the data now from API call, always try to copy paste, because if you do the spelling mistake, right, it won't show the error because by default it will be undefined. So make sure you always copy paste. Don't assume. You might be able to, there is a chance that we make spelling mistake, right? Let's add a bootstrap table class. Table hyphen border. Let's save all and let's check. Okay, let's move instead of 5, let's make it 7. Okay, so now data is coming. I think in body we have so much of data. No? Let's make it 12 only so we can have full screen. So now you can see on the page load, we are getting the API call, and whatever the data we get from that API call, we are showing it into the table. Now this is our normal table. Let's say you want to do the CRUD operation. What you normally do, you create another form. But what if over here only, in the table only, we can insert the data? Instead of this text, we can have a text box over here. Here only we can update the data. If you have an add button, on click of add, empty row will get added. So that is nothing but inline editing, right? So let's start it now. So first we will try to add a new row. So we will need one more button at the top. So let's quickly do that. Copy, we just need a button for adding a new empty row. Here we will have a button. Let's add a class, btn, success, add new. Fine. Now, on click of add new, what we need to do, we need to insert an empty row into my particular table. Just a minute. So once I click on add new, an empty row should get added. Means I'm adding a new record, but it should be with the text box because I should be able to edit, right? So for that, this is an array, right? In this array, we just need to push one element so that it will create an empty row. Fine. So first we will do that. On click of add new, we just need to add one empty record. Let's create this function. Now, so what's the object we have to push? Nothing but this object. So let's copy this object. In this function, I will be creating a local object, constant new obj is equal to this object. But we want to keep it empty. Everything should be empty because this is something new record we are going to add. Correct? Like this. So we created a new object, and this new object we need to push to our array, but we will use unshift because I need the record at the top. Fine. So this dot post list dot unshift, and what we need to push, this particular object. Let's just save this and check what happens. So if I click on add new, see empty record is getting added. Getting it? But now this should not be empty text, empty, what do we say, TD. But here what we need the text box. Okay. So what we do over here now, we are going to moving towards the inline editing. So what we do, normally we show this data, but instead of showing this data in the interpolation, we have to render this data into the text box. So let's get the text box, input type text. Now, how do I bind this data into this text box? So we can use your ng model. We can use the value also, property binding, but that will be one way. Once the text box value gets updated, it should get updated to this particular object also, right? So for that, we will use ng model. So use ng model, we have to import forms module. Fine. Now over here, you will bind square bracket, round bracket, ng model. And what you will bind it over here? Nothing but this property item.id. Let's just do this and let's check. See, you have got the text box with the data it is populating. This is nothing but inline editing. This is the simple logic. Fine. Now just like this, we will do for the remaining also. Here we have to bind user ID. Then title. Now for body, if you see the body, we have so much of text. If you have so much of text which user is going to insert, so instead of text box, we can go for a text area, right? So here instead of text box, I will go for a text area. Again, ng model we need to bind. And here I will bind the body. Let's remove everything. Let's format a little bit. Save, save. Now see, we got the data, but why it is taking so much of space? Let's try to add that bootstrap class form hyphen control. So it should limit the width. No, I think we have to give the proper size also. What we will give for each TD, we will give some width. Let's say this need 10% width. At the top also we need to give, let's just test this, then we will see. Yeah, 10%, just like that over here also, and over here also. Fine. Then here, so we got 20% left. So 40 we can give. So remaining is 40% over here and 40% over here. You can convert a class also, but just for the timing, I'm writing the inline CSS. Fine. Now this should take the 100% weight. So for that, we can add our form control class. So class form hyphen control. Bootstrap class, okay? Normal. Sorry. Let's copy this, paste it everywhere. Let's save. Fine. So now it is coming something properly. Now, this is nothing but inline editing. So you can see we are able to update the data, right? And let's say you have a save, just like add new button. Now see, if I click on add new, empty row get added. Now you are able to add the new record. Got it? So let's say coming back to why do we need the inline editing? So sometimes we have a API where we do the bulk upload. Means at a time user can send multiple data to save and update. So in this scenario, we will have a update button over here, and on click of update, whole array you will pass to the API. So at a time user can add multiple record like this, and on click of a save button, he will pass the whole array to the API to save. So at a time, the newly record gets created and the existing record get updated. So that is nothing but your bulk upload scenario. Okay. Now, so consider we are not going to do the bulk upload. One by one record we are going to have. So what we do, let's reload. At the end, we will need one more column. Let me just add it. Then you will see. See, one by one step we are going so that you can understand properly. Title will make it 30% or 35. And here we will need the 5% to the action. Fine. Just like one more TD we need with 5%. And here you will have the buttons. Fine. So what buttons? So BTN, class BTN, BTN, SM. Small one I'm getting. Success. Here, let's say we will have save. And again, one more button we will have for the cancel. Fine. Let's save and check now. So now on click of add, see, I'm getting the particular form with add and the save and the cancel. But here we should not get. Now again, coming back to scenario. When we do the inline editing, we have two scenarios. Either we allow user to edit a single record at a time or we allow multiple record at a time. Got it? So like this, multiple record are editable at the time. But let's say we want to allow user only one record at a time. Okay. So for that, we will add by default here we will have, see, if consider like you don't have the text box, by default you have edit and the delete button over here. Fine. So let me just copy this. Here we'll, let's say, primary and danger. And let's say here we will have edit button and here we will have delete button. Fine. So at the time, wait, danger. Currently, what is happening? Save button is also available, cancel, edit, delete. But let's say on the page load, what we need only edit and the delete button. And this should not be editable. By default, it will be in the text format only. So to achieve this, and once we click on the edit, this particular row should convert it into the editable one. Okay. So for that, what we will do, we will assume like in this item, we are going to have one more property. So that will be at the rate if I'm adding a condition because conditional rendering. Now, if item dot is editable, if in my object this property is there, I will show save and the cancel button. If in the edit mode, fine. Let's just save that and at the rate else. Those who don't know the latest thing, instead of this, you can use ngif also. Fine. Now see, we are considering one extra variable, one extra property, which will be present in our object. Okay. Now on click of edit, we need to add this property true into the current object. Fine. Currently, if I save, currently I don't have property in any of the object. So I will get edit and the delete button only. Once I click on edit, then only I need to add that particular property true inside the current object. So here we will do click on edit. And while editing, we need to pass the same object, means item, you will pass it over here. Fine. Let's create this function now. Now here we are going to get the current record. Okay. Now here in this record, you need to add this property that is editable one with value is equal to true. Fine. Let's just save and check now. So if I click on, let's say I'm editing the second record. If I click on edit, see, save and the cancel buttons are coming. Getting it? If I click on this, see, so that flag is coming. So now on click of edit, we get that flag true. Now this same flag we can use everywhere over here. We don't want to show all the text box at all the time, right? So here, if this property is true, we will show the text box. Otherwise, if we have to show the data into interpolation. The previous one only. See now. What you will show item.id. Like this everywhere you need to do. Let me just copy paste quickly. User ID and user ID. Title and title with the text area. So here we will just copy this, move it over here, and body also we will show it over here. Now see the magic. This is actually your inline editing. Wait, why these are available? Something is wrong. Okay, didn't refresh. So see, by default, your table will look like this and edit and the delete button is there. If I click on the edit, see that particular row got converted into the editable one. Understood? And it is in the editable. So we got save and the cancel button. Understood? Again, here. So this is, we are updating. So instead of save, we should be able to see the update button because on update, we will have a different API call. So how do you know like this is an update mode? If you have the primary key present, then you know that this is an update mode. If the primary key is 0, you know this is the save mode, because on click of add, here you should get add and the update button, right? So on click of add also, you need to add this property also over here again with the true value. See, one by one thing we are going again, like it might be a little bit confusing. See, on click of add, now you got save and the cancel. So once you click on the add in the new row, save and the cancel button is okay. But if you are clicking on the existing record, it should be, instead of save, it should be update button, right? So this is our API, right? So this ID, consider ID is our primary key, right? So if ID is there, we will show the update button, otherwise save button. So here we have this save button, right? So now here also again, if statement will be needing at the rate if item dot ID, if ID equal to 0, we will show save button, means this is a new record. And if ID is not equal to 0, we will show our else block, means update button will be there. Here I'm adding warning class. Here it will be update button. Fine. Now in case of default, I'm assigning 0 over here. When I'm adding a new record, see ID I'm setting as 0. Let's just see the whole flow now. Fine. If I click on add new, you can see we got save button. Fine. Let's try to edit this record. See, we got the update button. Understood? So this is how it works. Okay. Now, whenever you add the data, this data, let me just, how do I show you? Like we get the updated record. Let's add one more button over here. Oh no, sorry. On click of save only now. On click of save, you will make one API call, right? So let's click on save. And you will pass this item over here, which record you want to save. Console.log. And I will print whatever the object we get. And this object I will print over here. Okay, so fine. On click of save, I'm passing current object over here and that I'm printing it over here. Let's see now. And that then you can pass that object with the API call. On click of add, we got the text box. Let's say ID will be 0 by default, user ID. Let's say 121, title, demo text, body, some text. Fine. Now on click of save, see, you got the data which you actually filled over here. Now this data you are getting, you can pass it to the API for save API call. That is your create. Post API you will integrate, right? Whatever the record you are creating, that you got it over here on the click of save. And clear? So this is your inline editing. Now on click of cancel, what should be done? If you click on cancel, now again with cancel, there are so many scenarios. First, we need to consider, like, are you allowing multiple record to be editable at the time or single record? Let's go with the single record. So what I need to do, at a time, only one record will be in the editable mode. So for that, when we click on the add or the edit, we need to remove this particular flag from all the element. So I will create one more function, remove editable. So what I need to do, I will use the for each loop on our array, and I will make this element dot is editable property to false. This is one more logic. How do we make single editable row? Okay. So before turning any row into an editable one, I need to call this function. So all editable flag will be removed here also and before edit also. So that only current record will be in the editable mode. See now, if I click on edit, this is in the editable mode. If I click on edit, see, this got removed. So whatever the row you click, only that particular row is in the editable mode. Understood? On click of cancel, again, we just need to remove that flag. So what you can do, on click of cancel, just one more function you will call. click. Either you can whole iterate the whole this function also you can, but doesn't matter. Why to iterate all the array? Na? We just have to disable the particular row. Cancel row. Fine. Now over here again we need to pass the everywhere you need to pass the object because current row, current record, that's only matter. And here you will get the item. And again item dot is editable property, you will make it false. See now. On click of edit, we got it editable. On click of cancel, see, again we got the existing one. Got it? So this is our inline table editing. On click of add, we get the new record. On click of save, then you will make the API call. You got the data, right, in the item. Then you will pass that data to the API call. Clear? Okay, so now see one more defect we got. If I click on add new and if I click on cancel, empty row stays over there. So on click of cancel, again, we need to write the functionality. See, on click of add new, what you are doing, you are adding a new object with the ID 0 to your array. And if you are canceling out, if the record is ID 0, you need to remove the particular row also, remove the particular record from your array also. So here you will add a length if item dot id is equal to 0 means this is a new record and you are canceling it. You don't want to save it. So what you will do? You will remove the first record from your particular array. Dot splice. Which index? Obviously unshift you are doing. So at the first index, we have the record. So 0, 1. Let's save now. On click of add, we got it. But let's say user don't want to save. If we click on cancel, see, on click of cancel, that record also got removed. Got it? So again, so many use case will come. Okay. This is just a first video where I have initialized, explained the basic things what we can do with inline editing. Again, I will be creating one more video where I can show you like so many things like validation and everything, because I know this is only very new. If you are new to the Angular, or if even if you are experienced, if you have not implemented this in your project yet, so this will be new, and so many new things are there, right? It's not any topic, but again, logic is there. So many use cases we have to handle, right? So I hope this was helpful to you. One more video I'll be creating where I will explain the validation and how do we do that. Let's complete the validation because we are there. So let's complete the validation. Now, how do we say the validation? If I click on add new, right? Now, how you can do the validation? On click of save, if the text box values are empty, you need to show the validation message over here and below the text box or somewhere, right? So for that, you need to write your custom logic. That normally what you do with your template reference variable, that is not the good way to do it over here. So on click of save this function, what we will do, we will create one variable. Okay. Now for every text box, or we will just do the normal thing. We just need to check like if, let's consider user ID, title, and the body is mandatory. So here what we will do, if simple if statement I will add item dot user ID equal to empty, and or this dot, sorry, not this dot, no, item dot directly, item dot title is equal to empty, or item dot body equal to empty. So if any of the required fields are empty, I will show alert. I will say provide all values, or at the rate else. If all the values are filled, then it will go to the else block, and here we will write our API call. And for API call, we will pass this object. Okay. Let's save and check. On click of add new, if I click on save, currently I haven't filled the data. See, I got the validation message. Let's try to fill body. I'm not filling. Again, I will get it. But if I save, now it will go to the else block. See, we got the object. Now your API call will trigger from over here. Got it? So this is how you do the validation also. Again, you can create one more variable and here also you can show the message. But again, it will have one more logic. So I don't want to confuse for now. This was very easy. Okay. So I hope this was easy to understand. How do we do the inline editing? Now we have used ng model over here. Just like that, we can use the reactive form also. But in reactive form, we have to do so many extra things because over here we have to create a form array we need to create. We have to iterate on the data we get. We create a react form group. We pushed it to the form array. So many things we have to do. So that's why I'm not covering that over here. This was with the template form. Okay. So I hope this was helpful to you. Again, as I said, this is very real time scenario. When we actually work on the project, we have so many scenarios where we have to go for a inline editing. Fine. So that's it. Thank you guys. I hope you are liking my content. Please do like and subscribe.